It's a heartache, nothing but a heartache.
Just picture yourself, you're the coach of an AFL footy team and you're driving to a game. That's the kind of music you're actually listening
Tyler,
to.
yeah.
What is going on?
I've got some different thought processes on music.
Obviously not.
And I'm glad I've met Smiley. The laugh behind this show, it's fantastic to meet him.
Oh, Mark, from today I'm a Dockers fan.
Great.
Now, let's talk. First of all, thanks for coming in.
No
You've right-handed David Mundy. Can you tell us what's happened to David as he's been delisted? What's the story?
I did hear you pose that question to him a week or two ago. We need to retain as many players as we can in this state, as you know. Things aren't looking too, well, they're looking grim at the moment, but having said that, we've got a lot of younger players that we truly believe in the next 12 months, 2 years, they're going to turn into a fine football team.
I understand. I reckon you've done the righty, and I reckon you've inherited a lot of problems that the club, well, maybe not on purpose, but it's just the way they went chasing success, and you inherited a list where you had to basically get rid of a lot of players. I've looked, you've bought 10 first-year gamers this year, which is a credit to you to bring them through, and obviously they're going to have performances which are inconsistent. But you're doing the right thing because at least that buys you time to try and build a list where you can actually get success. But the game the other day in Adelaide, you would have been equally disappointed. I mean, did you get really despondent when you could only kick one goal in a game of footy?
Oh, it was certainly it was a long week, put it that way. Look, we're going to have a flat spot every now and then, and I think that was one of those games, unfortunately, when you have such a young team. And when you're carting them around Australia every second week, it's just going to happen, whether you like it or not, because they're still adjusting to the travel factor themselves. On top of that, the way we rebounded last week, and I mean, I think the best part or best trait that our team has had, even though we haven't won a lot of games, is the majority we've been really competitive in, and that's a really good sign going forward. So hopefully, if I put down our best 22 players at the moment, you'd say we're on the right track. We just haven't been able to get them all in the park.
Well, we got into, you might have heard it, I got into them, and we had a woman that rang up. She said, I was there. I was sitting in Adelaide, and I've got to say, I got a lot of positives out of that. And I said, what, did you get some discount shopping vouchers?
Well,
she said there was a lot to be excited about.
Oh, look, it's not a laughing matter. She would have seen a lot of chasing. She would have seen a lot of... Look... we just got mauled, basically, and then once they got the ball and they were very efficient, we couldn't get it back off them. So we don't like to dwell on the negatives down at Fremantle because you need to push on and learn from it.
Mark, you were a part of that Baby Bombers era.
Yeah, I was.
Similarities between what was happening then with that very young side and, say, the Dockers and even a team like Melbourne, where a lot of those young players are just coming online.
Yeah, a different story. Back in '84, when I first started, there wasn't the Australian competition, if you know what I mean. It was just a Victorian competition, so things are a lot different. But similarities are that we have the nucleus of experienced players in McFarlane, Sandilands, Pavlich, Grover, Tarrant, these sort of guys, Solomon. And then on top of that, you've got the younger players that still you really, the first years and second year players that are emerging. Then we've got our middle tier players who need to step up and really hold their spot on a regular basis. So this is a tougher competition now. So it's really hard to judge. But as I said, we've planned for the next year or two, particularly when the drafting is going to be compromised with these new teams coming in. And therefore we have to make sure that we're ready for that.
Now, Mark's here thanks to Natali Security Services. You're happy to take calls?
Eddie Natali.
Yes, that's a good man.
Now, I need to...
Hold on, 92211 882 if you'd like to talk to the coach, okay? 92211 882.
Now, I need... so Bob Mormel is your mentor, and he got you this radio station, did he?
Bobby spotted us in an isolated community in Western Australia, is correct.
Kalgoorlie, right?
Kalgoorlie, Boulder.
Yeah, well, if Bob was in here, we'd nearly have the Rat Pack, wouldn't we?
We would, yes.
Yeah.
He's not well, Bob.
Oh, isn't he? Okay.
He's had a major surgery and he's recuperating beautifully.
I'll have to give him a call.
Yeah. He does need a bit of hand. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Yes. You've actually done through with your list, but there's names, can I say, genius this year, and in regards to Tarrant down back. I thought if Tarrant didn't get injured last weekend, you actually had a chance of pulling off an unexpected victory. He was sensational. Will he play this week? That's the first question.
Well, they'll be selected. Him and Hazelby will be selected in the side. They ran yesterday and they looked okay. I would say up until tomorrow, if you ask me that question, I'll know. But we need to wait that long.
Hazelby is a match winner for Glendinning
Yeah,
Middle.
that's right. Yep.
1 year contract for
Yeah.
a bloke that's given so much and is probably arguably one of your best players you've ever had.
Arguably, yes, you're right. And loyalty and a one-team player, all those sort of things come into consideration.
1 year, though?
There's always an interesting debate about contracts and longevity of contracts, age of players these days. Look, it's just an ongoing negotiation. Where it finishes, I don't really know. I'd stay away from that as a coach, but I guess we'll come to a compromise somewhere down the track.
Well, let's hope he resigns because he's certainly needed down there. Kepler Bradley, his future?
Yeah, well, he's up for contract. We think that Kepler's been a really good
New contract?
addition from. Yeah, well, he'll be going through the same
Andrew
process.
Brown?
You've done your homework.
Andrew Brown?
He'll go through the same process. We've probably got maybe 15 players out of contract at the end of the year.
Marcus Drone?
I would say in the next couple of weeks you'll see some players that will sign with Fremantle.
Des Headland, last one.
He'll be one of those.
Will he be re-signed?
We're negotiating at the moment, so therefore we're entertaining it, yes.
We'll
I
take
like that. What do you mean by we're entertaining it? Does that mean you go out for dinner, or what do you do? We're entertaining it.
I just want to see Smiley laugh.
No, 2211.
Well, hopefully. That's the call as a coach.
Absolutely. I think football in general should be more fanatical in the way that we get dressed up to go and support teams. I just think it can go to another level, and that's what I'm trying to advocate with our supporters.
Do you reckon we've lost a bit of that, though, Harvs?
Well, the old duffel coat days are gone, aren't they, really? And even the scarf to a certain extent. I just think with the modern clothing and the colours, we can go to another level, and that's what I'm trying to advocate. And I'd love for Fremantle, us to have our own sing-along at the football, even our own band, just to have an event beyond an event, if you know what I mean. Football's the main objective, obviously, but just to make sure that our supporters are fanatical about going to the football.
Because there's some other codes that are actually doing that.
Well, there are. You can learn a lot from soccer, for instance, and even basketball, in the way that they try to promote beyond the game.
Are you worried that your supporters won't get behind you this weekend?
No, they've been terrific. They'll be there. They'll be there in numbers. I think the game.
Why would they go though? I mean, if you have a look at it,
you come to see the future. That's basically for both teams. You come to see the future and how they're going to pit each other against. Even though we're going through a difficult time, both clubs. And see where it lies and who's going to be the side going forward.
Well, why don't you lead from the front? Give us a promise right now that if you win this weekend, let's start a tradition. Maybe you take off your pants, or I don't know what you could do. You could actually take off your jacket and do a sheet, and therefore that'll stir Woosher up to kind of. We need some kind of rivalry, which is a physical sign between.
So we need to go to that level.
Well, I think you need to have. I mean, there was really.
I'm
good
prepared to have a bet with you, Millsy.
Yeah, what's the bet?
Well, whatever it is, then you've got to do the same thing. Because I'm pretty confident going into this game.
That you'll beat the Eagles. Well, I mean, you should beat the Eagles. Or can you give me 10 goals in?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Very bad.
You're going over the top with your punting.
And look, I can tell you, he had a bet 3 years ago to walk backwards to Bunbury. Still hasn't happened.
So he doesn't pay his bets.
No, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come down and I'll clean the change rooms, right, after training one night, and you can watch me. If you don't beat... You're getting
yourself into a knot here.
I reckon you'll beat the Eagles, okay? Because I don't want to be that silly. Because I reckon you got the list and you got if Sandylands and all that.
No, we've got a few problems leading into this game.
Pavlich will be there.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have Cox, so they don't have Kurt.
No. Well,
so you beat them. You should beat them. If you don't beat them by 5 goals,
that doesn't become a goals thing here.
All right, I'll paint myself purple. There you go, and I'll tie myself to a goalpost.
Nobody wants to see that, really.
All right, that's the bet. If you lose,
right? Okay,
that's how confident I am. I'm getting behind you.
How often would you talk to Woosher?
Only at a press conference, basically. Sometimes, obviously, we do things for the AFL, like from a coaches' association point of view as well. So that would be about it. He doesn't live far from me, I believe. But when it's a two-team town,
you don't like him, do you? Really, deep down?
No. No, he's competitive, and I love the way he played. We've got a responsibility with our clubs, and that's how it is. And so business is business.
I reckon I'm on the money here. I mean, the jacket waving with Essendon and the Eagles was a big tradition, and when Sheedy left, I don't know if it's as strong, but I reckon we need somehow you've got to lead the way as a coach.
Let me have a think about that, and I'll try to start to create.
I reckon give them all the anchor, mate, or whatever. Make a sign of some description. Brad's been.